I've seen a lot of people go after the cheapest gaming laptop you can find on sale, only to end up with a machine that can't keep up with a single new title without stuttering, or that overheats so badly you have to shut it down after 15 minutes of play. The regret is real, and it's why I always tell folks to look at the whole package before they click buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The MSI Thin 15 tries to sit right in the middle of that lineup. It's not the cheapest thing on the market, but it's also not the premium price flagship you see in big box ads. So the question is, does it actually feel like the smarter buy, or is it just another fancy name on a thin chassis? First off, the category we're talking about here is portable gaming laptop. That means you want something you can slip into a backpack, charge on a coffee shop outlet, and still get decent frame rates on the latest titles. The Thin 15's 15.6-inch 144Hz FHD screen is a good start. The high refresh rate makes the motion feel smooth in fast shooters, and the resolution keeps the image sharp enough that you don't feel like you're squinting at a blurry texture. In real-world usage, I've found that the screen is bright enough for a dim dorm room, but if you go outside on a sunny day, the backlight will struggle a bit. That's a trade-off you'll see on almost any laptop that prioritizes thinness over a larger panel. What really sets this machine apart is the combination of an Intel Core i7-12650H and an NVIDIA RTX 4050. The i7-12650H is a 6 Core, 8 efficiency core chip that can cruise through most modern games at 1080p with the graphics card handling the heavy lifting. In my testing, titles like Valorant and Fortnite ran comfortably above 120 frames per second, while more demanding games like Cyberpunk 2077 hovered in the 5,565 frames per second range with medium-high settings. That's beyond fast for a laptop that weighs just under 5 pounds. The RTX 4050 isn't the top-tier RTX 40 series, but it does support DLSS 3, which can boost frame rates without sacrificing too much visual fidelity. If you're okay with turning DLSS on in the pricier games, the Thin 15 will surprise you. Now, the thing that always gives people pause with a thin chassis is heat. MSI's Cooler Boost 5 system packs 3 heat pipes and 2 fans, and the laptop does a decent job of keeping temperatures in check. Under a sustained load, the CPU stayed around 85 C, and the GPU peaked near 78 C, which is respectable for a 15-inch chassis. The fans become audible, though they're not whisper quiet, especially when you push the settings up. If you're used to a silent workstation, you'll notice the fan curve ramp up quickly. But for most gamers who are already in a noisy dorm or a living room with a TV roaring, the fan noise isn't a deal breaker. One practical strength you'll feel right away is the SSD. The 512GB NVMe drive loads Windows and games in a flash. I installed Elden Ring and it launched in under 10 seconds, and level transitions were practically seamless. The downside is storage capacity. 512GB fills up fast if you keep a library of large AAA titles. You'll either need an external drive or upgrade the internal SSD later, which MSI does allow, but it adds an extra step in cost. For someone who only plays a handful of recent games and streams from the cloud, it's fine. For a collector who wants to keep a wide array of games installed, it feels a bit limiting. RAM is another area where the Thin 15 shines. 16GB of DDR5 at 4800 MHz gives you plenty of headroom for multitasking. I could have a game running, a music playlist, Discord, and a web browser all at once without any noticeable dips. The memory is soldered, so you can't add more later. That's something to keep in mind if you think you'll need 32GB down the line. The design is as simplistic as MSI gets, a matte black finish with minimal branding, just the MSI logo on the lid. It looks more like a regular Ultrabook than a gaming laptop, which can be a plus if you don't want the neon blue lighting that comes with many other gaming machines. The keyboard is a standard island-style layout with perky RGB, but the backlighting is subtle, not the aggressive flood you see on some competitors. The key travel is decent, though not as deep as a mechanical gaming keyboard, so if you're a typist who loves that clicky feel, you might miss it. Still, for most gamers the keyboard does its job. The WASD keys have a slightly textured surface that helps keep your fingers from slipping during intense matches. Battery life is often a myth in gaming laptops, and this one is no exception. MSI advertises around 6 hours of mixed usage, but in practice you'll see roughly 3 to 4 hours if you're gaming at 30% GPU load. That's expected, but it's worth noting because many buyers expect a